They're still on the shelves, for now. But within days, these 7 foods will vanish, and if you wait, you might miss your only chance to grab them. Supply chain cracks are deepening, prices are rising, and stores are already limiting what you can buy. What disappears first in a crisis? Not what you think. Forget luxury goods. It's the essentials that vanish. And this time, the warning signs aren't just rumors. They're happening across America. If you're building a smart prepper stash or just trying to feed your family next week, these 7 foods need to be on your list. Stick around, because number 4 is already out of stock in parts of Texas. Let's begin. If staying ahead of shortages matters to you, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We track what's vanishing so you don't get left behind. Number 1, ready-to-eat. Indian and Asian pouch meals. They don't look like survival food, but that's exactly why they're disappearing fast. Ready-to-eat Indian and Asian-style pouch meals, like tikka masala, Thai curry, teriyaki rice, or lentil dal, are quietly becoming one of the most in-demand prepper items of 2025. Why? Because they're shelf-stable, heat up in minutes, and pack real flavor in emergency conditions where taste fatigue becomes a serious problem. In the past, these were niche products, mostly found in the international aisle. But now, they're being bought in bulk by both urban preppers and everyday shoppers who want variety, nutrition, and speed without refrigeration. One pouch can last over a year on the shelf, requires no complicated cooking, and often provides balanced calories from carbs, fats, and protein, all in a compact form that fits easily into go bags or storm kits. But here's what's driving the shortage. Major grocery chains are cutting back inventory in the international food sections to make room for higher margin items. At the same time, TikTok survival influencers and budget meal prep accounts are pushing these pouches as hack meals for inflation-era food planning. That means higher demand, plus shrinking shelf space, equals sudden disappearance. And don't expect big brands to restock quickly. Most of these meals are manufactured overseas, especially in India, Thailand, and parts of Southeast Asia. Delays at ports, rising shipping costs, and ingredient shortages are hitting this category hard. Some stores have even reported delivery gaps of up to 8 weeks. Another overlooked benefit? These meals are fuel efficient. In grid-down situations or camping scenarios, heating a pouch in hot water or over a small flame uses a fraction of the fuel that canned foods or dry meals require. That means more heat saved, more water conserved, and faster prep when every second counts. Smart preppers aren't just buying 1 or 2. They're building variety packs of different flavors to prevent palate fatigue. In high-stress situations, your morale is directly tied to what you eat. Bland beans and rice might keep you alive, but flavorful comfort meals keep you functional and focused. Bottom line, these pouches used to be overlooked. Not anymore. If they're still sitting on your store shelves, don't wait. Once they vanish, it could be months before they're back. And in a crisis, boring food is more dangerous than you think. Stock up now while you still can. Number 2, freeze-dried cheese powder. It doesn't sound like a survival essential until you realize it quietly powers half the meals in a prepper's pantry. Freeze-dried cheese powder isn't just for macaroni and nachos. It's a compact, long-lasting, high-fat, high-calorie food enhancer that transforms bland staples into meals you'll actually want to eat in a crisis. And right now, it's disappearing faster than people realize. Preppers who've stocked rice, pasta, potatoes, oats, or beans eventually face a real challenge: flavor fatigue. When you're stressed, sweating, and rationing fuel, appetite drops fast. That's where cheese powder comes in. Just a few tablespoons can turn boiled pasta into comfort food, mix into instant soups for added depth, or be sprinkled into rice or mashed potatoes for a calorie boost and morale lift. But here's the problem. Demand has quietly surged, and supply hasn't kept up. Retailers like Augustin Farms and Thrive Life are struggling to keep cheese powder in stock. Many listings are marked back-ordered or unavailable. Why? Because cheese powder relies on dehydrated dairy, which is being impacted by global milk shortages, heat waves affecting dairy farms, and rising costs of food-grade processing. The result? Bulk freeze-dried cheese products are becoming harder to find and more expensive when they're available. Unlike canned cheese sauces or shelf-stable cheese products, this stuff actually lasts, typically up to 10 years in sealed mylar with oxygen absorbers. It's light, compact, and doesn't require refrigeration, making it perfect for bug-out bags, camping kits, and long-term storage. And because it's real food, not synthetic goo, it offers usable fats and protein with almost no waste. There's another reason smart preppers are stocking up: versatility. Cheese powder can be reconstituted with water for sauces, baked into breads, mixed into biscuit dough, or even added to scrambled egg powder for extra richness. In a grid-down scenario, these micro-luxuries make a massive psychological difference. And here's the kicker. The price per pound has nearly doubled in some online stores since last year, and smaller smaller packaging is becoming the norm. That's a warning sign of stealth inflation and limited production. Bottom line, if you're building a serious pantry, freeze-dried cheese powder isn't a luxury. It's a flavor multiplier, calorie booster, and morale tool. It stores longer, works harder, and disappears faster than most realize. If you can still find it in stock, don't wait. Once it's gone, your survival meals may start to feel like punishment instead of fuel. Number 3, instant mashed potatoes, bulk family packs. In a crisis, comfort food becomes more than a craving. It becomes a survival tool. And that's why bulk-sized instant mashed potatoes are vanishing from shelves faster than you'd expect. These aren't just a side dish, they're a prepper's secret weapon. Lightweight, long-lasting, quick to cook, and packed with carbs for energy, instant mashed potatoes check every box. Add a little hot water, maybe a bit of oil or powdered cheese, and you've got a warm, filling meal in under 5 minutes. But lately, finding them in bulk has become a problem. Family-size packs of brands like Idahoan, Hungry Jack, and store generics are either out of stock or severely limited in major retailers. Online listings are being marked delivery unavailable or facing 2-week delays. Why? Because smart shoppers are buying them out. Not just preppers, but families looking for affordable, stretchable food that requires no refrigeration and almost no prep time. They also store incredibly well, often 2 to 5 years sealed, and come in compact packaging that fits perfectly into 5-gallon buckets, bug-out kits, or even underbed containers. And unlike raw potatoes, they don't rot, sprout, or attract pests. What makes them even more useful is flexibility. You can thicken soups with them, turn them into potato cakes, use them in casseroles, or blend them with dry herbs for quick meal kits. In a no-power scenario where cooking fuel is limited, foods that rehydrate quickly and require minimal energy are absolute gold. There's also a psychological reason behind the shortage: familiarity. In times of chaos, people instinctively reach for foods that feel safe and nostalgic. Mashed potatoes remind people of home, warmth, and normalcy, something you can't underestimate during long-term stress. And here's the part most overlooked: prices are creeping up, and the bulk packaging is quietly shrinking. What used to be 26 Oz, the family pouch is now 20 Oz in many stores. That's not just inflation, it's a signal. Once these are gone, they're not coming back cheap. The takeaway? In uncertain times, the most valuable items aren't exotic. They're familiar, functional, and filling. And right now, instant mashed potatoes check every box. If they're still on your store shelves, grab what you can, because they might not be there next week. Number 4, baby food pouches, fruit and grain mixes. They're marketed for infants, but smart preppers know they're one of the most overlooked crisis foods on the market, and now they're quietly disappearing. We're talking about those reusable baby food pouches, usually fruit blends, grain mixes, or veggie purees. Apple carrot, banana oat, sweet potato quinoa. They don't just sit on baby aisles anymore. They've become a low-key prepping essential for families, caretakers, and solo survivalists who understand what really matters in a grid-down scenario: nutrition, portability, and speed. Why the sudden rise in demand? First, let's talk about versatility. These pouches require no heating, no utensils, and no cleanup. They're nutrient-dense, easy to digest, and shelf-stable for up to 1,218 months. For elderly family members, people with medical conditions, or children who refuse MREs, these pouches deliver instant calories with almost zero effort. But here's the real reason they're vanishing. They're being hoarded by everyday shoppers, not just preppers. During inflation waves, they became a go-to snack for busy adults, especially the high-protein and fruit-based ones. They're healthier than candy, cheaper than protein bars, and safer than many adult shelf-stable options filled with dyes and chemicals. The problem? Supply chains aren't built to handle this level of cross-category demand. Baby food production requires stricter manufacturing protocols, and when raw fruits like apples and bananas suffer yield drops due to weather or disease, as they did this season, production bottlenecks hit hard. Many stores are limiting how many pouches can be purchased per trip, and in some regions, entire shelves are cleared out weekly. Let's not forget the disaster readiness factor. These pouches don't need water. That's huge. In emergencies where water is limited or unsafe, most freeze-dried foods become liabilities, but baby food pouches are ready to eat straight from the pack, and they're soft enough for people with dental issues, kids, or elderly dependents. Storage is another win. No bulky cans, no sharp edges. You can stack dozens in a shoebox or bug-out bag without worrying about leaks or spoilage. And because they're designed for infants, quality control is high, something that matters when food safety becomes life-critical. The smart move? Start adding them to your pantry rotation today. They may not look like survival food, but when you need fast nutrition without heat or prep, they outperform most traditional options. If you wait until the shelves are bare, you'll wish you stocked up when they were just baby food. Number 5. Shelf-stable tofu, vacuum-sealed bricks. You won't find it in most prepper pantries yet, but shelf-stable tofu, especially the vacuum-sealed bricks sold in Asian markets and international aisles, is one of the smartest proteins you can stock. And right now, it's quietly slipping off shelves. Unlike refrigerated tofu, this version is shelf-stable for 9 to 12 months and doesn't need special storage conditions. No freezer, no cooler, just a dark cabinet and you're good to go. It's light, compact, and packed with protein, iron, and amino acids critical for survival endurance. But here's the part most people miss. It's also versatile. Slice it and stir fry. Crumble it into stews. Pan fry it with soy sauce and serve it over rice. In emergencies, when variety is limited, this one ingredient can feel like 10. So why is it disappearing? Simple. Global demand is exploding and supply chains weren't ready for it. As more households shift toward vegetarian or emergency-ready options, these vacuum-packed tofu bricks have become a go-to protein source, not just for preppers, but for budget-conscious families, campers, and even students. And since many of these products are imported from Taiwan, Japan, and Korea, even a small hiccup in overseas shipping causes massive supply gaps. Right now, tofu doesn't look like the kind of item that'll vanish fast. But that's the illusion. Most people don't realize how quickly soy-based products go from readily available to out of stock. And here's the real kicker. Even online, prices have jumped 30 to 40% in just 6 months, and multi-packs are being sold in limited quantity lots by major survival supply retailers. Let's talk about health. Unlike many processed meat alternatives, shelf-stable tofu is real food. It's made from simple ingredients, soybeans, water, and a coagulant like nigari or calcium sulfate. No preservatives, no dyes, no fake flavorings. That makes it incredibly digestible and efficient for your body to convert into fuel. And in terms of cooking, it absorbs flavor like a sponge. One brick can become spicy, savory, smoky, or sweet, depending on your spice kit and storage sauces. That kind of flexibility in flavor makes it far more valuable than static, bland emergency rations. In short, shelf-stable tofu is one of the best-kept secrets in long-term prepping. It lasts, it fuels, and it adapts. If you've overlooked it until now, fix that, because the smart shopper's already cleared half the shelves. Number 6. Crackers that actually last. Pilot bread, water biscuits, and hardtack. Most people toss a box of crackers into their pantry and think they've added something useful to their emergency stash. But here's the problem. Most crackers are survival junk food. They go stale in months, crumble under pressure, and offer almost no real value when it matters. But a specific kind of cracker? That's a different story entirely. Enter pilot bread, hardtack, and water biscuits, the legendary shelf-stable crackers used for centuries by sailors, soldiers, and survivalists. These aren't your buttery Ritz or flaky saltines. They're dense, dry, and built to survive war zones, Arctic expeditions, and bunker shelves. And now, they're disappearing. Why? Because serious preppers have started buying them up in bulk. They've realized what modern snack food buyers haven't, that most store-bought crackers are fragile, full of rancid oils, and useless after 6-9 months. In contrast, pilot bread and hardtack can last years, even decades, if properly sealed. FEMA stockpiles them. So do Arctic research teams and military rations. Let's break it down. These old-school crackers are low moisture, which means bacteria and mold can't take hold easily. Oil-free or low oil, which prevents them from going rancid like modern snack crackers. Incredibly filling. A few can hold you over for hours. Stackable, portable, and crush-resistant. No crumbs, no mess. But it's not just survivalists grabbing them. With food inflation rising, these poor man's bread alternatives have quietly gained attention from off-gridders, hikers, and even parents looking for school lunch backups. The demand has spiked, but supply hasn't kept up. Many brands only produce these in batches, and online stores have started limiting purchases per customer. You can eat them as is, top them with canned meat or nut butter, or soak them briefly in water or broth to soften them into dumpling-like carbs. In survival cooking, that kind of flexibility is priceless. One thing to note, they're bland. That's by design. Their neutrality makes them adaptable, but you'll want spices, spreads, or dehydrated stews to pair with them. Think of them not as a meal, but as the backbone of 1,000 emergency meals. Cracker aisle warning. Most boxes offer comfort, not longevity. But if you want real resilience on your shelf, look to what sailors, soldiers, and pioneers trusted when failure wasn't an option. Number 7. Powdered vegetable broth. Bouillon alternatives. In a survival situation, flavor isn't just a luxury, it's morale, and nothing transforms bland rice, pasta, or beans into a warm, satisfying meal like broth. But there's a growing shortage you probably haven't noticed yet: powdered vegetable broth, especially the high-quality, no-MSG organic blends. Here's the twist. While bouillon cubes and chicken-based powders dominate prepping shelves, the plant-based versions, especially clean-label veggie broths, are vanishing. These aren't just for vegetarians anymore. Smart preppers are hoarding them for a reason. They're lightweight, multi-purpose, and shelf-stable for years. And unlike traditional bouillon cubes, they often don't rely on hydrogenated oils, synthetic meat flavors, or sodium bombs. That makes them a smarter base for anyone managing blood pressure, inflammation, or sodium-sensitive conditions. In other words, they work for everyone, not just plant-based eaters. But supply can't keep up with demand. Most powdered veggie broths are manufactured in smaller batches, often by niche or organic food producers. And with global shipping delays and rising costs for dehydrated produce, many of these brands have scaled back production or raised prices quietly. Some flavors, like mushroom, garlic herb, or curry-infused, are already out of stock across multiple online retailers. So why should you care? Because broth is more than soup. It's a cooking liquid, a rehydration tool, a seasoning base, a way to make bland food comforting, nourishing, and psychologically grounding, especially when the world outside feels uncertain. In tough conditions, taste matters, and plain salt won't cut it for weeks on end. And unlike canned broth, these powders don't need refrigeration, don't take up much space, and don't expire in a year. You can vacuum seal them in jars or Mylar bags, stash them in a bug-out bag, or tuck a pouch into your glove box. Just one scoop can flavor an entire pot of survival stew. To wrap it up, don't underestimate the power of powdered broth. When your meals are limited to grains, legumes, or dehydrated basics, this single item can turn survival into strategy. If you haven't stocked it yet, now's the time, before the shelves say otherwise. You've just seen 7 items that most people will overlook until it's too late. They're still on the shelves today, but not for long, and once they vanish, you won't get a second chance. Because prepping isn't about panic, it's about timing, and those who act early survive stronger, longer, and smarter. Now ask yourself, did even one of these surprise you? Did you learn something you didn't know? Then this channel is exactly where you need to be. We don't do clickbait. We do warnings no one else will give you before the headlines hit. So if you care about your family's future, if you're tired of being blindsided, and if you want to stay 3 steps ahead while everyone else is still in denial, smash that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and join the prepping movement that actually sees what's coming. We're not just surviving, we're getting ready to lead.